Good evening, Fernwood. It is your compassionate comptroller, Neil, and it's time for us to get compelled with another episode of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. We are watching episode 289 today from May 12th, 1977. Yesterday seemed to set the groundwork for some new directions in this show, so it seems like it's time to take a look back. Tom Hartman woke up his wife Mary after a night of drinking, celebrating his release from jail and his freedom after having been accused of murder. The couple are really glad to see each other and have a very tender reunion, which leads to the beginning of lovemaking that is interrupted after Mary mentions that she has been getting calls from Dennis Foley. Tom explodes with jealousy and walks out, and Mary wonders what to do with her marriage. Later, Tom visits George Shumway, who is hard at work in his new role as an inventor, and in this case he is trying to invent an earthquake detection device. George is ready for the first experiment with his new contraption, which includes feeding a small bird into one hole of the box and feeding a boa constrictor into the other hole in the box. And soon after that, the box begins to shake and sputter, and we see an explosion of feathers erupt from the earthquake detection device. Of course, George thinks that he has detected an earthquake, which is pretty surprising considering how infrequently Fernwood sees seismic activity. Tom gives George a pep talk about his new machine, and then he muses about how different his life would be if he had focused on baseball instead of getting married to Mary and having a family. Because Tom thinks that he was really good at baseball, George, on the other hand, thinks that he was good for Fernwood. George is still frustrated that he hasn't come up with a killer idea, and Tom points at a can of Black Flag, so George comes up with the idea of a bug-killing gun. Next door at the Hartmans, Mary gets a visit from Dennis Foley, who pushes himself into her presence, even though Mary thinks that there's really no need for him to visit. Dennis continues to insist that he and Mary are just friends, and then they're interrupted by Wanda Jeter, who has come to apologize for not helping Tom out with her true knowledge of the real death of Drexel Jones. Wanda tells Mary that Tom and she are such a perfect couple, and Mary is glad to hear it, except that she thinks that someone maybe should tell Tom the same thing. And then back over at the Shumway residence, George and recovering alcoholic Tom are sloshed. George really wants a compliment from Tom about how great his idea for a bug-killing gun is, and Tom goes along with that to a certain point. And then Kathy shows up and she cleans up the mess left by the two men as she gets a mysterious visitor, a woman named Standing Cow, who is somehow related to the Marquette Rock that used to be in the yard. Kathy is perplexed by this strange woman and asks her if she has come to live in their home, and the response from Standing Cow is that no, she has come to die. And everyone, I get the feeling that we're going to see some very, very interesting beginnings this week, so why don't we find out what's on this Thursday episode?
Mary Hartman! Mary Hartman!
Mary, guess what?
Not until I have my coffee.
Well, then have it.
Well, not until tomorrow. I'm cutting down as a personal protest against high prices. So instead of coffee, what I decided to do is I decided to stock up on diet soda right here. Luckily, it's just filled with caffeine, too.
Oh, great.
Yep. And you know what Walter Cronkite says, though? He says that the saccharin in this diet soda does a lot to produce cancer. You know how many of these Heather drinks a day?
Look, if it's under 800, I don't think you have to worry.
Heather, your breakfast is ready just about a minute, okay?
Oh, good. Finally serving something I like.
Oh, Heather, now please, I have some real food there, too. There are things that your body just screaming out for.
Keep it. I'm in a big rush this morning, and I need some of your blood.
Sweetheart, I don't know what that means, but isn't it a little early in the morning to get distasteful?
The blood's for school.
Oh, yeah, I remember. They asked a lot of me, too.
Actually, you see, it's for extra credit. And, see, in science, we're studying heredity. And I decided that, I'd get some blood from the whole family.
Oh, well, does that include me, too?
Sure. You're next.
It probably won't hurt. Oh, it doesn't hurt at all. No.
Oh.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, Heather's taking our blood to school.
Be sure and bring it back. We need it.
Oh, that's God. When he's funny like that, it's always such a surprise to me when you're funny, because I never expect... Ow! Heather! This idea for this experiment, how long have you had it, Heather?
Oh, well, you see, we've been reading about different blood types in school, and I decided, maybe I'd check the family out under a microscope.
How come? Who cares how we look under a microscope?
I do. You see, there's something that's been bothering me about Mom.
What?
I don't think we're related.
What?
Heather, what are you saying?
Well, look, I haven't proved it yet, but I've got a hunch there was a foul-up at the hospital.
What are you talking about? Everybody knows that Mary is your mother.
Yeah, and I'm your father, so don't go talking crazy, because I can have you put away if
Listen,
you...
Tom, don't threaten me.
What?
Look, I know you too well to be frightened by it, so I like you, right? But I really want to believe that some of your blood is flowing through my veins. But Mary, how do you explain her?
What?
You see, after all these years, the things she still does, they don't make sense to me. And besides, we don't even resemble each other.
Tom, when you listen to this, my own daughter is disowning me. Now, will you please say something to her? Help me figure out a way to tell her that I'm legitimately her mother.
I know this comes as a shock to you. It wasn't easy for me either. Now, let's try to stay calm and wait till the test results come in. Then we can talk about a possible separation.
You can't leave now. You can't abandon us now. Not at a time like this.
If I don't leave at a time like this, I'm gonna be late for school.
Oh, my God. Oh, I feel awful. Oh, this is awful. This is really awful. I mean, she's been unpleasant before, but she has always allowed me to be her mother.
Yeah, well, I think it's just a phase, Mary. I think she'll outgrow it. I really... Oh, my God, I gotta get moving. I gotta get out of here. Listen, I'm gonna be late tonight. I'm gonna stop off at the Capri with the guys and have a few beers, okay?
What?
Well, boy, after this, I'm gonna need a couple of drinks, huh?
Hey, I don't understand this at all. I mean, Heather thinks that I'm not her mother, so how come I'm the one who feels like an orphan?
Look, Mary, Tom's probably right. It's just a phase that she's going through. And him, too. Listen, have you been, thinking about Dennis Foley lately?
What? No.
Good, because neither have I, and I think we should keep it that way. We'll both be better off.
I'll tell you, Kathy, I could use a little better off.
What?
La-da-dee-da.
Hey, Miss Shumway.
Oh, hello. I wondered why this was open. How did you get in here anyway?
Let's give that old superintendent of yours a couple of bucks there. I thought I'd surprise you here with some dinner. Look here, I got your beef stroganoff there. Got me some French green beans, little candied yams, and a bottle of Grenache Rosie.
And you cleaned up the place? Why, what have I done to deserve all this?
Well, I tell you remember how you took good care of me when my foot was hurt? Well, you being just a little old woman and me being a man, well, I just thought that I wanted to return the favor.
Why does all this talk of favors make me feel so wicked?
Oh, now, Miss Shumway, listen, you've got the purest, cleanest heart of any woman that I have ever known. So if you're feeling anything, it's got to be good.
Oh, it's good, all right. Yes, it's good. But is it wicked?
Is it wicked for us to like each other?
No.
Is it wicked for us to To sit here and eating,
No,
talking,
no,
having an affair?
no, Mac. I can't have an affair. Why? What would people think?
Well, I think it's a hell of a good idea.
Well, the other people who count besides you, Mac. My family. Of course, Kathy doesn't count. She has affairs all the time. And Mary had an affair in a hospital bed with a policeman whose heart was about ready to stop.
Well, who else counts in?
Well, my neighbors. Of course, my neighbor, Wanda Jeter, had an affair with the late Dewey.
What other neighbors you worried about?
Well, there's Loretta. She was Lulu for a while, you know, and she probably would have had an affair had she not lost her amnesia first.
Yeah, I recall that little situation there. Listen, Martha, I gotta ask you a question. All them people that you mentioned there, any of them matter to you more than me?
Oh, no, Mac, not more than you. Why, you are so thoughtful and kind and gentle, especially for your size.
That's true.
You know, I just thought of something. I bet I am the only woman in Fernwood who hasn't had an affair. And that sort of thing can make you feel very left out.
Martha, if I'm just gonna have one shot at knowing you, and I really want to know you.
It's not right.
Why?
Why?
Just give me one good reason.
Just one, because there are so many.
Well, let's just start with one.
Well, this is going to be very hard, just one. You know, I've always had difficulty sorting anything out, even the laundry. Why, I always just dumped everything in there all together. Of course, it seemed to turn out all right. But now with all this talk on television about biz-bagging this and not biz-bagging that, it's got me feeling very guilty.
Martha, look, you are the purest, kindest woman I've ever known, and there ain't no reason for you to feel guilty. Especially about us. And you just give me one reason why we can't do this.
I can't.
Well, all right, then.
No, I can't do this.
Martha, if we care about each other, ain't no reason not to. And we do care.
No, there isn't any reason not to. Except the dinner. The dinner here. We've got to eat our dinner before it gets cold.
Dinner'll be just as good reheated.
Honey, that bowling lane is reserved for 8 o'clock. What time did you tell Heather to get here to start babysitting?
She'll be here any minute, darling. Just a second. Oh, look at little old Johnny Doe. Don't he look sweet and cute? It's a shame, though, 'cause the new cowboy dads of his sure ain't brought a hooter smile to his little old precious lips.
Sweetheart, do you think maybe it's the wrong time to be leaving him alone? Or worse, with Heather?
Oh, no, Heather's fine, hon. I mean, Tom and Mary have just, raised her real civilized and everything. And I'm sure her fine Christian qualities is just going to emerge any day now.
Well, right now, her finest Christian quality is we couldn't get the ex-Marine to do the babysitting.
Oh, there she is,
There she is.
Hi.
Hi, Heather.
Hi, Heather, darling. How are you, hon?
Oh, I'm
Hey,
fine.
we really appreciate, Heather, just
Yes.
what you're doing for us
Sure
here.
do.
We really do appreciate it.
Well, it's okay, anything to get out of the house. The tension's really getting to me.
Oh, well, hon, what's the problem?
I don't know. I just told Mary I didn't think that she was my real mother, and she fell apart. Isn't that typical? I mean, how am I supposed to respect anyone without any stamina?
Heather, your mother has been suffering quite a bit lately. I mean, don't you think that maybe you should be a little sympathetic?
Sympathetic? Well, I've got my problems too, but Mom and everyone else, well, they're all interested in her problems and their problems and everyone else's problems that they forget about me.
Loretta, Loretta, we just got to get to them bowling lanes right now, or else we're going to lose that lane. Come on.
Right. Now, Heather, darling, I have written some emergency numbers down here on this little tablet in case you need anything. And also, in addition, dial a prayer if you'd like some divine inspiration. Okay?
Sure. Well, you just go on and forget about me. Have a good time.
Okay. Now, darling, and your daddy and I is going to be leaving now just to go out for a teensy little time. But don't think we're deserting you or nothing like that. And cute little Heather Hartman here is going to play with you, and y'all are just going to have a great time, okay? So give your mama a goodbye kiss now. Johnny Doe.
Play, Reginald, play.
Well, we're ready to go now.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Bye, Heather.
Cowboy outfit. How corny. Get with it, kid. Here. Have a piece of bubble gum. Oh, that. Hey, do that. Come on. Blow bubble. Yeah, that's it. That's good. Oh, dummy. Hey, hey, hold the phone. Don't try to do that. Don't try to do that. Here. 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 Rub this on your face. Well, learn how to drink a Coke. Here. Okay, watch this. Watch. Pick it up. Now watch. Pull the tab, see? Like that, watch. It's good, now you try. Go ahead. Oh, what a dummy. Here, wipe this off. What a mess. Well, we'll have to try.
That the mood to go bowling has just completely left my soul here.
Yeah, Heather, I think we'll just probably be staying home tonight, darling.
Hey, how come you turned it off? They just expect me to go home, don't you?
Well, Heather, we wouldn't want to keep you, sweetheart. There you go.
Well, guess I'll be going. Besides, Trudy has better records. At least better than me. We sit around and talk about what a fox Dennis Foley is. Oh!
Charlie, he's crying.
Hey, honey, that's terrific.
What do you mean terrific?
Honey, he's never done that before. Don't you understand? I mean that means he's acting like a human being.
Charlie, we have given this boy every bit of love and affection that any human being could have. I mean, he couldn't possibly not be happy staying with us. Could he?
Uh-oh. Hello? 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 Hello?
Hi.
Oh, hi!
They're here in town.
I'm Dennis, I'm sorry, but I don't think you can take me to meet your parents. I'm married.
Listen, it's all right. They're married too.
Yeah, but no, Dennis, I really don't. Hello?
Oh, Mary.
Yes?
Mary, listen. Come on, it'll be good for you. I mean, you'll love it, and they won't think anything about it. They'll understand.
Well, okay, I mean, hello?
Hello.
Okay, I'll tell you what, maybe I will, because it is sort of a little mopey around here anyway.
Okay. Now, tomorrow, at the Capri Lounge, at 4 o'clock for cocktails, okay?
4 o'clock at the Capri for cocktails?
Right.
Well, all right.
Will you be there?
All right. Okay, would you do me one favor, though?
What's that?
Hello?
Hello.
Okay, let's just remember what this is about, okay? I do have to be home by 6 for Tom.
I'll see you then.
Bye.
The way you wear your hat, the way you dance till 3, the memory of all that. Oh no, you can't take that away from me. La da da dee dee dee. Whoop. Dee 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 dee. La da da dee dee dee.
Hi, Ma.
I thought you weren't speaking to me.
I'm not.
Well, that's good. That's very good, because after the things I have heard that you have said about me, I am not speaking to you.
Well, just because we're not speaking to each other shouldn't mean that we're not speaking to each other. I mean, we have things to talk about.
Like Mac, because I don't want to talk about Mac with you.
Well, there are other things we can talk about, like...
Like Mary? Oh, please, Kathy, don't bring up that relationship with Mary and that Sergeant Foley. It just makes me so sick and uncomfortable when I think that my very own daughter is throwing herself at that man. Is that what she's doing, Kathy?
I don't know, Ma, but I'm really worried about it. I mean, I remember how persuasive Dennis Foley is.
Oh, well, that's one characteristic I never thought you saw in a man. You never have to be persuaded.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? Well, what about you and Mac, a man half your age, and you stole him from me?
Oh, don't talk about Mac. We were not going to talk about Mac anymore.
Well, that's fine with me. Ma, who are those two women over there?
Oh, those poor women are Texas and Vernon's widows who have come to pick up their bodies. So, what's new at home?
There's an Indian lady living at the house.
George is living with an Indian woman? Oh, I'm shocked. I thought he only liked redheads.
Nothing like that. She just came to the house to die.
What a strange coincidence. I left our house to live. Is she a relative?
No, she's Jewish.
Oh, a Jewish Indian came to our house to die. I don't know, that sounds all wrong.
We start with Kathy in Mary's kitchen, and Mary is cutting down on coffee by stocking up on Diet Cola. Looks like Diet Pepsi, which I am generally non-caffeinated, but this weekend of shooting I've been attending a big convention, and I really needed to have something to keep me awake from my day that started at 6 when I was going to work and ended after the convention, like several hours. So I did imbibe just a little bit of the caffeine in a sparkling water drink, because I still don't dig on the coffee. Anyway, this is how Mary is functioning. That's the start of that scene. And then Heather shows up, and she is doing some kind of science experiment and gathering the blood of the folks in her family, because she believes that Mary and her cannot be related, which is kind of amusing, but also obviously it's going to break Mary's heart just a bit. In this case, Heather is claiming that because they're so dissimilar, they can't be related. But I feel like there's examples in every family of people who are just completely different in their personalities, and they are blood relations. I mean, Heather, you're just frustrated with your mom. That doesn't mean that she's not your mom. In fact, it probably means that she is your mom. It's silly that Heather's doing this thing, but also I can see that it would completely tear Mary apart. And then Mac and Martha at the apartment. Apparently, it's really easy to get into people's homes in Fernwood. Mac has cooked a dinner for Martha as a romantic gesture, and apparently they haven't had sex yet, although I feel like they've done some kissing at least. But Mac wants to push past that specific line, and unlike Dennis Foley, he will test the boundaries rather than just bulldoze through them. Now, he's still pretty pushy, but he's at least allowing Martha to explain why she thinks it's a bad idea, and Martha is having difficulty stating it, but she's very clearly uncomfortable. I think that it's because she's married. She's also trying to weigh this choice of having an out-of-marriage relationship, having an out-of-marriage sexual contact. She's trying to weigh that against something, which she hasn't stated, but it seems like that is what's on her mind, that she really is conflicted because she has an attraction to Mac, but she's not willing to go as far as to explore sexual pleasure together with him. And then we're at the Haggers with little JD, who has more and more clothing on. He's dressed as a cowboy as though he was a kid in the 1950s. Charlie and Loretta have arranged for Heather to come babysit instead of the former Marine that they had used in the past, because they want to go bowling. And honestly, parents, you've got to figure out how to have fun times that don't necessarily tie you to having a child there. I hope that's a healthy decision you can make for yourself, but to occasionally let go of the reins sounds like a good idea. But Heather shows up, and strangely, I feel like Heather may be giving JD, right, Johnny Doe, a bit more culture than Loretta and Charlie have been able to give him. At least in the sense that he's tried bubblegum and he can open a soda can, although it sprays all over him because he shook it. Then Heather, who is not famous for understanding other people's emotions, puts on a record, a rock tune, and starts dancing to it, and it seems at that point, combined with the soda and all of the other excess stimulation, JD just runs and hides. And at that point, Loretta and Charlie come back in because someone forgot their bowling shoes. And they see JD, and it makes them stay in because they feel the need to take care of him more. And I feel like JD literally ran off the second that Loretta came in. So seeing their son in distress, and I know that he hasn't been adopted yet, but let's just call him their son. Seeing JD in distress, seeing their son in distress is painful. I can only imagine, never had kids, but I have to imagine that seeing someone that you really care for hurting hurts. And in the case of a parent and their child, or in the case of a very emotionally connected Loretta and Charlie, that's painful. They send Heather home. Of course, she's going to insist on the full pay, even though she was there for at most 5 minutes. And Loretta and Charlie notice that JD is crying for the first time. And then finally, we're at the Hartmans, where Mary is going to extreme lengths to clean her phone. And here is where we get a call again from Dennis Foley, who I had forgotten invited Mary out to dinner with his parents. Mary is again putting up a boundary, saying this is not something that, first of all, I should do, but also, if I'm going to do it, I have these rules. I'm going to get home. And it's also, I believe it was part of the scene, that Mary is making very clear that this is a non-romantic thing. Dennis may feel a different way. That doesn't mean he should act on his feelings. In this case, that would be pretty awful. So this is a big stressor, because we know that Mary cares about Tom's feelings, and we know that Dennis doesn't. And much less cares about the barriers that Mary sets up. It's funny to me that people think that Dennis is so hot, like Heather says that he's a fox. I mean, he's an attractive man, but I guess looking beyond that, I still see all of this behavior that just wigs me out. So then I nearly forgot to mention the final scene of this show, which is a confrontation between Kathy and Martha. Kathy hasn't been speaking to Martha since Mac showed his interest, and Martha seems to take that personally. I mean, I can understand why Kathy would be angry. In this case, this is the two women having really opposing points of view, but as I mentioned earlier, Martha is conflicted about this relationship with Mac to some extent. I know she appreciates the attention, but she's certainly drawing the line at some kind of sexual intimacy. I don't know if Kathy understands that, and I think that for Kathy, perhaps just the fact of Mac giving all of his attention to Martha is plenty, whether or not they have sex. And then there's also the two sad women in the corner, Vernon and Tex's widows. And that tickles me. So everyone, that is our Thursday episode of Mary Hartman this week. Thank you for watching. Thank you for leaving your thoughts, feelings, and impressions down in the comments. Thank you for getting compelled with me. And we will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.